I almost said bachachas one more time. I'm Isabella Prida, and today is Wednesday, April 4th! I don't think I'm supposed to... Today's Wednesday, April 4th. It's time to wake up alive with me. I'm going to put this down because that was too much. Let me log in here. I hope you guys are having a wonderful morning. It's a little gloomy here in Los Angeles, but you know what they say. If it's gloomy, it'll be... I don't know what rhymes with gloomy. So, was I able to connect myself here? Yes, I was. Listen, I have a very interesting Wine Wednesday story for all of you. I consider myself somewhat of a sommelier, if you will, and I'm here to tell all of you that there's no difference between a $50 bottle of wine and a $5 bottle of wine. Now, if you're going to argue with me on that, you're probably over 50 years old, which you're not my target audience right now. I'm trying to speak to the people that are my age, trying to ball on a budget. When you're living in Los Angeles, people want to go to Napa Valley, and they want to go to these uncorked wine festivals, and they get suckered into paying $20 entrance fee, and then $60 for a bottle, if not more. But listen, all you gotta do is drive in the opposite direction down to Valle de Guadalupe, Mexico, where you get half off, if not even less than, on any kind of wine possible. And you get good food, you get good Mexican people, the whole environment is really nice. So, I want to know if any of you have ever been down there, because I was just there this weekend, and it was really good. Also, after the first glass, they all really taste the same. So, all you need to know about wine is, are you going to eat it with chocolate? Have some red wine. Are you going to eat it with some tuna tartare? Have some white wine. Or have both and then just take an Alka-Seltzer later. I ran out of breath there. Anywho, mamma mia. So listen, do I look really tan? Thank you, I just got it this morning. So, I have a WTF story of the week. And when I mean WTF, I mean WTF, people! There's this dude. I'm sorry, he's not a dude. His name is Miguel Perez. He's a former U.S. Army veteran, and he just got deported back to Mexico. Now, there's a plot twist. He did serve 2 tours in Afghanistan, and when he came back, he had trouble finding a job, he got addicted to drugs and alcohol, had a lot of PTSD, accidentally sold some cocaine to an undercover cop, got arrested and convicted as a felon. So now that in Trump land, they're deporting a lot of undocumented immigrants, they got him and they got rid of him. You guys have to tell me what we think about this, because I get it, we don't really want these people that deal drugs out in these streets, but it's also he fought for our country 2 times. Could we not just give him a break here? I want to know what you guys have to say about that, because I got distracted. Because it's a really interesting story. But you know what else is a very interesting story? My next guest, or I guess she has a very interesting story. She is actually a journalist who's now a first-time documentarist. And she's talking about reproductive rights and going beyond pro-life versus pro-choice. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my very awesome guest for this Wednesday, Asha Dahya.
Hey guys, hello.
I think we have... No, so is that in your ear? Oh my god.
No, but that was really cool.
Okay.
And I think the word is documentarian.
Oh, okay, documentarian. Yes. So is this your first documentary?
It's my first own project.
Okay, your own project. So
I'm very nervous.
But tell us about it, because I think I saw some clips and some previews. It looks really interesting. I'm not just saying that.
Thank you. So it's called Life at All Costs, Going Beyond Pro-Choice versus Pro-Life. Mm-hmm. I come from a very, very conservative evangelical background.
Oh, wow.
And I kind of transitioned out of that world about 4 or 5 years ago. I went through a divorce. It's a whole story.
Okay.
And
that's recent, though. 4 or 5 years ago?
Yeah, it is pretty recent. So,
okay.
And so now I changed my political and social views on a lot of different topics. Mm-hmm. So I've kind of been on both sides of the pro-life, pro-choice coin.
Okay.
But the thing that I saw in a lot of areas and through a lot of my friendships was that there were all these like contradictions that weren't being talked about. You know, when you talk about politics, it's always like these little sound bites and like, oh, I'm pro-life, so I don't have abortions, and I'm pro-choice, so I do. It's like, actually, that's not how human beings live. You know, it's very complex, and reproductive rights is such a big spectrum. So that's kind of what I want to talk about and find ways to like combine the two, you know?
Okay, so it's not just black or white?
It's not, yeah. Like I have friends who come from the conservative Christian world who have had abortions and don't regret it. And then I've got progressive friends who had them and do. So it's like, we need to talk about like, how do we support women? How do we prevent unintended pregnancies in the first place? Right. How do we support children after they're born as well? Like, how do we value life as a whole society? Right. So I'm looking at issues like sex education, birth control, poverty, the rates of maternal mortality. We have one of the highest rates in the developed world. Right. It's 3 to 4 times higher for black women, so it's crazy. Oh, wow, yeah. So you're touching on a little bit of a lot, which is great because I've always thought that the first step to any kind of progress or change is to simply start a conversation. Yes, thank you. And so by you starting this conversation, are you more leaning towards sexual education or more towards statistics? Because, you know, a lot of times we kind of try to go with either side, but then it's like, okay, well, why don't we just not have the problem in the first place? Right. So then it becomes, well, are these women having, you know, pro-choice decisions because there was an accident or because it's like not the right time or what? So have you touched on like a lot of certain amount of stories or certain type of stories? Yeah, so I've started filming interviews and I'm running a crowdfunding campaign right now. Okay. It's on Seed and Spark and you can find it on the homepage. Just search Life at All Costs on seedandspark.com. So I'm touching on a lot of things like access to birth control and sex education. I believe there's only like 23 states that require public schools to teach comprehensive sex education. Oh, okay. And of that number, only 13 require the information to be medically accurate. I'm not sure what we're being taught if it's not medically accurate. Wait, only 23 states in the country? Yeah. Crazy, right? We have 50 of them, just so everyone's aware. And this is even crazier. So the states that enforce this is all public education, obviously. Public schools to teach abstinence only have higher rates of STDs, higher rates of teen pregnancy, and not all of those teen girls are bring those babies to term. So it's like we need to have a conversation about what is the best form of sex education, what is the best way to prevent these teens getting into this situation, which no teen should ever have to deal with, right? But don't you think? Well, not don't you think. Do you think that men should be just as involved in this conversation of preventing unwanted pregnancies than women are? Because I get it, I'm all for birth control and women knowing their stuff and all of that, and condoms, sure, but it's also like, I heard this phrase that we're worried so much about trying to make a bulletproof vest that it's like, well, why don't you just unload the gun in the first place? Such a good analogy, especially because like gun control and gun violence is such a huge issue right now. Guns are more regulated than women's, bodies and stuff. Exactly. Yeah. I think it was the other way around. Women's bodies are more regulated than guns. Yeah. Thank you. Yes, definitely. 2020. And I'd love to invite every male legislator in this country to explain how the woman's reproductive system works, and if they can do that, then you're welcome on this show. But I guarantee you they won't, unless they're a gynecologist. Right. Which we also can't throw men under the bus too much because, and this is an interesting word or topic with feminism because a lot of people associate being a feminist with automatically being pro-choice. But there's a spectrum. There's a spectrum, right? Yeah. And that's what you talk about. It's not just one or the other. Yeah. You can be a feminist, but you can also be pro-life, right? Well, yeah. So the whole thing, and this is why I want to go beyond just the pro-life, pro-choice label, because they come with such like negative and narrow connotations and definitions. And so I think as a society, we have to kind of rise up, especially millennials, and change the conversation. Like, if you're a feminist, I know I personally, I just had a baby 7 months ago. And I'm in a stable enough situation where I've never had to be in a crisis pregnancy situation. I've never had an abortion. I don't think I ever would, and I am a feminist. So already it's just like, well, hang on a minute. Wouldn't you be like, it's like, no.
Right.
Everyone has different, approaches to this based on your situation, your financial status, all that kind of stuff.
There's lots of factors that go in it.
Yeah, and I love what you said. I just want to say the thing about the men. So ever since doing this crowdfunding campaign, I've had so many men reach out to me via Twitter, DM saying, thank you for sharing this. I think this is a really good conversation. My wife went through this, blah, blah, blah. I was like, yes, we want men to be part of the conversation, supporting and being allies, not just...
And getting educated as well.
Yes.
It's not as simple as just throwing on a condom, men. And I'm a big advocate of men. I love them. I love a lot of them. It's just, and you just had a baby boy.
Yeah.
At what age, I mean, he's too young, but at what age do you think is the right age to start talking to your kids about sexual education? Because growing up, my mom talked to me about it, but it was kind of like a conversation that happened once, and then it was a lot of like, listen, just be safe. And when I got a boyfriend, she was like giving me condoms, which is all great and stuff. But then I see like TV shows now, and there's like social media is talking about kids can access any kind of information on social media, so it's not just the conversation that happens once or twice. It's happening all the time on their news.
It's like constantly, and it's not just social media. It's also online porn is so easily accessible now. So for the younger generation, like my son's generation, I'm like, I can't afford to not be that first line of defense, giving him the right information. So I think, well, he's 7 months. I think I'm going to wait till he's like 8 months. No, just kidding. It depends. I'm just going to see... he's growing up in a world where digital stuff is all around him, social media is everywhere. So I just want to be that parent that I'm going to be the first person that he comes to and he feels comfortable talking to, and I'm not going to shame him, judge him.
That's the biggest thing.
I think that's the most important thing.
That's the most important, because a lot of times we don't talk about it because either the way we were brought up, or maybe your mom is super open about sex, but you're still a little like embarrassed to talk about it with her. Just
it has to be age appropriate.
It has to be age appropriate, and again, parents have a really big part in sexual education, because we can talk about public schools and non-public and online stuff all we want, but at the end of the day, you live with your parents, you grow up with them, so they kind of have to, put on their parent pants.
Big parent panties.
Big parent panties.
I've got them on today.
And talk about it. This is great. So now, what do you expect for people to just get after they watch your... You're doing a docu-series, right? It's not a film. Okay, a docu-series. Yep. And are you going to be launching it like one episode at a time, or how is that going to go?
So the crowdfunding campaign is to film the pilot.
Okay.
I've shot some interviews and I'm going to do some more. And then my plan is to pitch it to production companies and get it onto like a streaming service or a network, and that's kind of like my long-term production plan.
Okay.
And so far I'm thinking like 7 episodes, possibly more. And every episode is going to be, one's going to be like sex education, birth control, paid leave, foster care, like, so every episode is a different topic.
Oh, and then, so then based on the topic is who you interview.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I want to stress that it's not just about abortion. It's trying to show like the way to go beyond the pro-life, pro-choice label.
Right, the title. It goes beyond just one or the other.
We've got to look at these social issues. We've got to look at it as a human issue and have conversations that are more open and compassionate rather than like political and divisive, because that's not getting us anywhere. So,
right. Yeah. I love it. Oh my God. Yes, Queen.
Yes,
I love it. Make sure you guys all tune in to her. I'll post the links and stuff to her docuseries later, because this is going to be really awesome from what I think.
I hope so. Thank you.
Also, if you need a megaphone, I'm going to put that, update the crowdfunding page, because I need someone with a megaphone. So we're going to do that. It's me.
And I found her, so don't worry, guys. Casting notice done.
So listen, here we like to end the show with a segment called Things I Don't Get. I have 2 things on my list. You brought one too, right?
Yeah.
So number 1 on my list is the expression apple of my eye.
What is with that?
What the heck does that mean? Like, if someone told me I'm the apple of their eye, I'd be like, thanks. I don't know. I don't get it. What's your thing I don't get?
So, mine's a little bit nerdy. It's I don't get why America is the only developed country in the world not to have paid family leave. as a national policy, and we're also supposed to be the most powerful country in the world. Like, what the hell, guys?
But we don't have paid family leave?
No, not on a national level. So some companies offer it, and on a national level we have FMLA, which is family medical leave, and it's unpaid, and it's for 12 weeks, and it's only if you work for a company with 50 or more employees if you've been there for a year or more. So not everyone qualifies for it.
I don't get that.
Yeah,
get it together, America.
Seriously.
Well, lastly on my list, when people, when you go into a grocery store or wherever, and people say, "Hey, how are you?" they actually mean hello. So why do they always ask you, "How are you?" Because as a personable human, I like to tell them the current state of my life. I don't give them the whole rundown, but
you should.
I actually came here because, and then they're just like, okay, and it's like, just
say what you mean.
Say what you mean. Don't say hi, how are you if you really mean hello. But right now, we got to say goodbye. So thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you so much for stopping by. You're welcome here anytime. And remember, we will see you guys, or you guys will see me next Monday, sticking back to our regular time at 10 a.m. And remember, you're the only one that can make today awesome.